What is going on, people inside the internet machine? Welcome to this episode of Odds and Ends. If you watched my recent pickup video, you know we snagged an NES Toploader. It's my first one, so very excited to have it in the collection. She is a little dirty though. She is a dirty girl. So on today's episode, we're gonna take this Toploader apart. We're gonna clean it. We're gonna put it back together, and then we're gonna run a quick test on it just to make sure that everything is still working properly. And well, we should have a nice Nintendo Toploader for the collection.
CMRetro, modern games and retro games. CMRetro, modern games and retro games.
All right, so before we take this bad boy apart, we need to get some tools assembled. We've got our isopropyl alcohol. We got a little bin to put screws and Q-tips and whatnot in. You will need a security bit. This is the 4.5 millimeter. Guys, you can get like the 4.5 and the 3.8 millimeter security bits on eBay. Usually less than $7 shipped unless you want a more expensive set. But the set I have, I've been able to get into every video game console or cartridge with the 4.5 and the 3.8 that I've ever needed to. You need a Phillips screwdriver. Have a couple of them around. I always have a pair of tweezers in case I drop a screw, and then a flathead screwdriver just in case. Those are kind of handy to have. So now we got that out of the way, let's get this bad boy apart. So here we go. Here is our top loader. First thing we need to do, turn this thing over, and we have 4 security bit screws. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So let's get those out. Now that we have those screws out, we'll just turn the console over, and we will lift the top of the console off. There it is. That's all there is to it. Now, if you've watched my teardown videos before, we'll always start with the top of the console just because they're a little easier to work with. Take the top part of the console, we will turn it over, and we will see what we have. We have 3 Phillips head screws, one there, and one there. And then our start and reset button, we just have to push these pins to get those through. So let's take care of that. So we took out our 3 screws. The cartridge tray should just come right out, all plastic, easy enough. The top, the spring-loaded cartridge port protector guy, be careful of that spring. You can break those off, and there are some posts that these springs sit on, so you want to make sure that you don't break that. But otherwise, we got it out, no problem. The buttons, like I said, you just find the tabs. So here's the power tab. We'll push those in and push it down at the same time. And should pop right out like so, and we'll do the same thing with the reset button. So there's the top half of the console disassembled. You know, it's 5 pieces, not very difficult. These pieces right here, we're gonna throw in a Tupperware that we have hot soapy water in. We'll let those soak. We're not gonna do that to the top of the console, and I'll explain that after we disassemble the bottom. So here's the bottom of the console. We've got 1, 2, 3 brass screws, and then we've got 2 silver screws on either side of the cartridge port. And these screws are going to be longer, so just remember that the 2 silver screws are for the cartridge port, and the 3 brass screws are for the heat shielding. So we'll get those off right now. We got those 5 screws out, and all we have to do is just lift up. And the board with the heat shielding on it. Now we can throw that in the wash as well, and we will do that just to make sure it's as clean as possible. The bottom shielding just comes right out. We'll throw that in the wash. Here's the bottom part of your Nintendo Toploader. So we'll take the board, we'll put that on a towel. That way it's not, you know, rubbing up against hard surfaces. And we will take a Q-tip with rubbing alcohol, and we will go all in between here. We'll clean all that stuff out. We'll clean out the cartridge ports. We'll clean off all this other stuff that's back there. And we'll get it as clean as possible before we put it back in the system. So here's our lower and our upper shell. Now I am not going to put these in hot soapy water, and here's why. They have stickers on the back, and I don't want that water, that soapy water, to damage these stickers in any way, shape, or form. So what I'll do is I'll take a damp washcloth with soapy water, and I will sort of spot clean it by hand, maybe go over the stickers very lightly, but I don't want it soaking for 10 or 15 minutes in the water. The top portion also has a sticker on the back. So again, same philosophy. I don't want that sticker to get damaged, so I will clean this mostly by hand. And if I have to, I will use a Mr. Clean Magic Eraser. But what you have to be careful of with those Magic Erasers, you know, these Nintendo consoles have a texture to them. And that Mr. Clean Magic Eraser, because it's like a microfiber type sandpaper, could, if you use too much of it or pressed really hard, could remove that texture and actually damage the console. So if you're going to use a Magic Eraser, just be aware of that and be careful when you're cleaning the water or cleaning the consoles. But we'll get those in for a soak, and we'll come back and clean the board a little bit. All right, so we're going to clean up this board a little bit. It doesn't look too dirty, which is actually really good. But I like to, you know, get some isopropyl alcohol and go in between all the chips and components and all of that stuff. And I'll spare you the doing all of that. But let's look at the back here, okay? We've got this plastic piece, and if we just go over it a little bit, you can actually see how much cleaner it is just by doing a little bit of maintenance. You can see, yeah, that's probably pretty good right there. You can see where the dirt starts right about there. So we'll get all of that off. There we go. Look at that. And we'll just continue to clean around here. The cartridge slot actually worked good, so we don't need to clean that or, you know, do the credit card method, but I will show you how to do that. So ideally you would want one of these. This is a Nintendo cartridge slot cleaner, and you just put rubbing alcohol or the you know, Windex or the cleaner of your choice. You insert it into the cartridge slot and you push it in, pull it out a couple times, and you'll get all the dirt and debris out of there. But let's say you don't have one of those. This is what's called the credit card method. Now, I wouldn't recommend using a credit card just because credit cards have bumps and ridges and all that stuff. Get like one, like a Subway or an old rewards card, something that's flat. And the theory is that you take a thin piece of fabric, you know, a t-shirt or whatever, and you've essentially created the same thing as this, right? We're going to put our cleaner on the edge of the credit card or Advantage Club card, and then take that and stick that into the console, in and out, and clean it. What I've found is use this as a last resort, okay? Go buy some cleaner specific for your consoles. The fabric that you use can get caught on these pins, and it can pull the pins up. So, as long as I have this, we will clean our top loader with this and not this. But that's another technique that you can try if you don't have a standard cartridge slot cleaner. So we'll get that cleaned out and we'll check on those pieces. They've been soaking for a couple minutes now. Okay, everything is dry, cleaned, ready to put back together. Before somebody says it in the comments section, I will mention this. You can take this heat shielding on the back off. I don't really feel a need to because you can clean everything that's in there, but there is a screw in there, and then there's 4 screws on the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you wanted to take this shielding off and this plastic piece off, maybe you're replacing it or doing a mod or something, that's how you would do that. But again, for general cleaning, I don't really feel that we need to go that far. So here's the bottom. We'll put our heat shielding back in. Let's try and put it in correctly. There we go. Put the board back in. Bada bing, bada boom. Oh, let's put it in correctly. We got it backwards, just like that. We'll take the top part of our heat shielding and let's try and put that one in properly. There we go. All right. There we go. So then all we have to do is put our 3 brass screws in and our silver cartridge slot screws. There we go. We got our screws in there. Just sort of a talking point here. If you've never taken a console apart before, these screws that are in here, just make sure you put them in there hand tight. There's no need to crank these things down because you can see they're attached to these plastic posts underneath the, or attached to the bottom of the board. If you tighten them down too hard, you will crack and break those posts. So just hand tight. I generally use a regular screwdriver, not a power screwdriver. But that's the bottom. Let's get the top reassembled. So the assembly on this should be easy. We've got our power button that just fits right into that slot right there. Remember, you may have to kind of bend these pins just a little bit to get them to see it's already wide. It's too wide. So we have to kind of bend it a little bit just to give it enough room to get in there. Do the same thing with the reset button. Just like that, bada bing, bada boom. And there are our buttons. Now all we need to do is get cartridge cover in there. Remember, this thing has a spring on it, and we want that spring to fit right in to that spot right there. So when it fits in there, it should look just like this. The spring is coming above this little bump, and it should have a little give just because the spring is causing some tension. But we will take our cartridge port, our protector there, we'll get that on there, and then all we gotta do is just put the 3 screws in. All right, we have our 3 screws in there, boom, boom, boom. We're ready to attach it to the bottom of the console. Now, make sure that the power switch, if it's up, you need to have your power button up. If you put it down, you need to make sure that the power button is down, or else it will not fit together properly. If you have the power button up, switch up, and the power button down, it will not fit together properly. They need to be the same. I always go down, we'll put it on the down position, and down position. See, there we go. If we try and put that in the up position, it won't close. Okay? We put it in the down position, it fits together perfectly. So we'll just get our 4 security screws in the back, and we'll give this thing a test. Stupid RF switch. All right, so we got our PS4 up. Do not forget to change your channel to TV, and make sure that it's on channel 3, and make sure that your console is set to channel 3, or else you're probably not going to run. Mario Brothers, what y'all know about some Mario Bros? Fire that up, and there we go. I also cleaned the controller that came with it, so now we got a decent looking controller to go with our Mario Bros. I was having problems with the D-pad going left and right, but we definitely fixed that, and everything is looking good. So there you have it, guys, a Nintendo NES Toploader Teardown disassembly video. Thank you guys so much for subscribing, liking, commenting, sharing on social media. Don't forget to bang that notification bell so you can stay up to date on all of your CMRetro gaming goodness. Guys, take care of yourselves, and we will see you on the next one, which might be a TurboGrafx 16 teardown. So you're probably gonna want to subscribe and all that stuff. So just to, notification bells. Okay, I'll see you guys later. Seriously though, go. Bye. Some people, man.